And I am Martin Asiedu Date. These are the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank.
Coming up tonight, Interior Minister reveals Accra flood disaster left 12 dead with 7 people missing.
And also coming up tonight, Alajo flood survivors count heavy losses after deadly Accra flood disaster.
Meanwhile, President John Mahama directs immediate release of some 300 million Ghana cedis from the contingency fund for flood relief and mitigation efforts.
Later in business news, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana projects up to 13% drop in fuel prices as National Petroleum Authority slashes price floors effective July 1.
On the international front, United Nations says an Ebola outbreak could cost Africa up to $3.6 billion and hundreds of thousands of jobs. We are live around the world on 3news.com. We are streaming on our Facebook page. You can be a part of the show. Let's hear from you.
The news now in detail, and survivors of Monday's flood disaster at Alajo are counting their losses, with some families losing everything to the floods. Out of the 12 lives lost to the floods in Accra, 2 fatalities were recorded in Alajo. Stanley Niblewu was in the community to assess the impact of the disaster and reports.
The floods, triggered by hours of torrential rainfall on Monday, claimed lives, destroyed properties, and trapped several residents. Some residents were forced to flee to safety. At Alajo, one of the worst affected communities, survivors returned home on Tuesday morning to scenes of devastation. Affected residents are counting their losses as shop owners salvage what remains from their shops. Many residents also searched through debris and soaked belongings, hoping to recover something to wear or use. Chantel and Daniel are neighbors living in the same compound. They lost all their belongings to the floods.
You know, I'm having clinic. I was supposed to go for work, but my uniform, my laptop, my books, everything is gone. My dress. I'm even wearing someone's dress at the moment because the only dress I was wearing was the one I was able to get out with. Everything is damaged.
How much about 3:30 to 4? And then soon started to because you're being gata. The gata and the soon be bana embafia. A question and soon in Yamba, near San Kodaka, around 5. So they started to say a bull refuge. Temobio fear be a PA, to Tony Demu PA. So you go to Toya 3 to 4 hours. Every day, Befia, Obia, and your man say, we bet me and when no man will Google will be a session at the Minta, dear Missika, me bag and Missika Shemina. It's a Tadiri, and then we pen our cash. I'm doing Antimisa, I'm good to sound Juma.
For other survivors, sources of livelihood, including television repair shops and barbering salons, were washed away by the volume of water that flowed from upstream. Several vehicles parked at mechanic shops along the shoulders of the Odor drain were also swept away into the storm drain. Relief items for affected persons have yet to arrive.
A bit free, I was a shop or Gutanano. Free and be also a chief free Achimota Mone, baby in the Diaba.
At Achimota Bofu, the situation is equally concerning. Sections of the Odor drain have collapsed, while the foundation of a pedestrian footbridge is being threatened as floodwaters continue to erode the area. Foundations of some homes have been weakened, putting existing structure at risk. 3 bedrooms along the drain collapsed, with their content washed away by the floodwaters. Construction materials procured by government were also not spared. A concerned resident spoke to TV3 about the situation.
Now the buildings have started collapsing. In fact, everything has got damaged. Even lives have been lost. About 12 people have been washed away. and no NADMON official, no MC. In fact, I don't think if His Excellency saw this video, and I want him to see it, he should let them come to our aid. What is going on?
The flooding has been attributed to excessive rainfall and human-induced factors, including the blockage of waterways. A resident who claimed to have seen some people disposing of garbage into the drain on Tuesday morning raised concerns. The Ghana Meteorological Agency has warned that more rains are expected. With more rains expected in the coming days, residents in flood-affected areas fear that without urgent action to clear blocked waterways and address the persistent flooding challenge, communities along the Odo Basin could face another devastating experience. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Accra.
And still on the flood issues, the Tema West Municipal Assembly, in collaboration with the Marine Police and the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has rescued a 72-year-old businessman who was trapped in his house for 3 days. After his rescue, Ebenezer Misa called on city authorities to pursue encroachers, saying they are unfairly paying the price for human activities. George Queening reports.
The stream at Klagon has been totally submerged. City authorities attribute the flooding to human-related activities. Waterways in the area have been taken over by encroachers. It took the timely intervention of the Tema West Municipal Assembly, together with the Marine Police and the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, to rescue 72-year-old Ebenezer Emisa. But for his daughter's appeal, Ebenezer Emisa would have been trapped for more than 3 days.
This is exclusively to TV3. How has life been upstairs?
I don't think you want to know.
I want to know.
It's very bad. It's very bad.
So this timely intervention by NADMO and Marine Police, how do you see it?
It's very helpful. Yeah, I've never seen something like this before, so it's very helpful.
Is this an area that is mostly gets flooded, or is this the first time?
It floods. Mostly it floods, but not like this. This is the third time we had it like this. This year, yeah. But it's never like this before.
So what does this tell you? People still building waterways, it's still persistent. So clearly the worst could happen anytime soon.
Personally, they should all go. All the illegals should go.
It's just illegal?
Mine is not illegal. Okay. So all the illegals should go.
The daughter is extremely excited about her dad's rescue.
I was so much worried about him. What he was going to eat, how he was faring because of his age. And then even he being at the top, it's another risk. What if the building itself falls?
The municipal chief executive of the assembly, Ludwig Tertotime, says there'll be no human interference in the next project aimed at clearing all waterways.
The time to act is now.
Yes, and I like the way you sum it up aptly. The time to act is now. There's been a lot of encroachment on the banks of the streams. We have had calls to demolish some of them. Some of them actually were hoping for the waters to go down a little because some of the areas were inaccessible. So we're waiting for the waters to go down a bit and then we'll be able to access those places. So all the buildings behind there, they have encroached onto the banks.
In a related development, the assembly is exploring the forced evacuation of a family of 6 trapped in the apartments at Klagon Waterworks. Although the family has told NADMO they do not need assistance, the MC insists it is not in their interest to make such a decision.
We will have to go back there and we will have to force them out of the water anyways because, I mean, every life matters. Even for those who don't want their lives, it matters to us. So it is not for them to say, you are stuck up there. If at midnight, you are in any form of stress, how will we help you? This is the best time we can help you. So whatever it will take for us to get them out of that situation, we will do it.
The area is currently under monitoring and assessment, and the building, together with others, will be demolished for siting in a waterway.
Local authorities in this municipality have attributed this flooding to human-related activities. Just look right behind me, buildings on waterways. Should this persist, the worst could happen. George Queening, TV3 News, Klagon, Community 19, Accra.
Meanwhile, the Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak has told Parliament that the intensity of Monday's downpour was unprecedented and caused extreme difficulty for disaster response teams, stating that government relief support is underway. Meanwhile, a former Minister of Works and Housing, Francis Samreboi, wants a week of national flood emergency declared for stakeholders to intensify preventive measures. Christian Yali reports.
The hours of relentless rains on Monday caused heartbreaking moment. Scenes of helpless citizens, vehicles, houses and properties being swept away, as well as onlookers who did not have the power to save the situation, invoked painful memories, even for families that lost loved ones. Many of those who have perished have become part of statistics, and the Interior Minister has a breakdown.
We have a total of 7,761 households that were displaced, with 38,802 individuals affected. 7 people as of this morning were displaced, and the total death are 12 individuals that we lost.
The Asawase legislator indicated that the intensity of the rainfall was on record, the fourth highest Ghana has recorded since 1995.
This was something that was a difficulty for us as a country. What happened yesterday gave us 169.2 millimeters of water, and this is the fourth largest volume of water in a day since 1995. Even if we had everything right, the kind of rains that we received in June and yesterday will have necessarily created some overflow and created some problem for us.
A former Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Samreboi, in a similar statement bemoaned what he reckoned as a lack of political will to complete flood protection project, but he also made a demand.
I will specifically call on government to declare a one-week national flood emergency preparedness exercise to enable metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies and other important stakeholders to intensify the silting, clear block drains, remove obstructions from waterways, pre-position emergency teams and strengthen public education.
For the minority leader, the anti-flood task force set up by the president has proven little to tackling the situation and needs interrogation.
We contend that given the scale of this failure, statement of regret and after-the-fact relief packages are not sufficient. The minority is calling on this House to establish a parliamentary committee specifically mandated to investigate the conduct of the flood preparedness task force and the relevant government ministries and agencies in the lead up to this disaster. Those found responsible for negligence or dereliction of duty must be held accountable.
But in all of this, pragmatic action is what Ghana needs and not the yearly speeches in tackling flooding as well as sanitation challenges. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Parliament.
Development, President John Dramani Mahama has directed the immediate release of some 300 million Ghana cedis from the contingency fund to support flood relief and mitigation efforts. The move follows the devastating floods that affected parts of Accra and other communities in southern Ghana on Monday, the 29th of June. The directive, announced on Tuesday, the 30th of June, forms part of government's emergency response to the widespread flooding caused by hours of unusually heavy rainfall. According to a statement issued by the Minister for Government Communications and Presidential Spokesperson Felix Kwakye Ofosu, half of the amount, 150 million Ghana cedis, has been earmarked for immediate relief assistance to individuals and communities affected by the floods. As floodwaters continue to pose a threat to lives and property in parts of Accra,
Health officials are stepping up efforts to prevent a possible outbreak of waterborne and vector-borne diseases. Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Kando has been leading a team of health officials on an assessment tour of flood-prone communities to evaluate sanitation conditions and intensify public health education.
Heavy rains and flooding often leave behind stagnant water, contaminated drains and polluted water sources. Flooding creates ideal conditions for the spread of waterborne and mosquito-borne diseases. Health authorities warn that without proper sanitation and timely intervention, outbreaks of cholera, diarrhea, typhoid fever, and malaria can quickly emerge in affected communities. Monday's rains left several communities flooded, food items destroyed, and water sources contaminated.
So as a service, what we've tried to do is to look at our current plan and try to update it. We are updating the plan along the various thematic areas of surveillance, laboratory, case management, risk communication, and then coordination. Our hotspots are purely along the coastal belts of the country. So for us, our initial approach is to have a plan for the next 3 months, purposely during the period that we're going to have maximum rain, and then we're going to focus on prevention and early detection to minimize the threat of cholera. I think that one thing we're going to communicate is that you can hardly stop cholera because we have persistent risk factors.
The Minister for Health, Kwabena Mintah Kando, together with officials from the Accra Metropolitan Health Directorate, visited selected flood-prone communities to assess the level of environmental contamination following the recent heavy rains. During the visits to Odona, New Plant Station and Achimota Alubushi, residents and traders were educated on preventive measures. The minister announced that public health nurses and community health workers will be deployed to affected communities to intensify health education.
Floods of this nature are followed by outbreaks. It is not automatic though, but usually we've seen that, especially every rainy season. And so it is important to embark on this preventive exercise rather than waiting until the outbreak gets out of hand.
We're staying on this same subject matter of flooding, but taking a step back to 3 weeks ago, you'd recall that after nearly 3 weeks of being submerged under floodwaters, parts of Samreboi are finally beginning to dry out. Many residents are now facing the agonizing choice between returning to unstable homes or joining the ranks of the displaced. Irama Smith picks up the story.
For weeks, the people of Samreboi have endured the devastating impact of flooding triggered by the overflow of the Tano and Semi rivers, widely attributed to the destructive effects of illegal mining or galamsey in the Wassa Evenfi area. The flooding, which began in early June, has displaced thousands of residents, many of whom are still sheltering in temporary accommodations. The waters have receded in most parts, offering a glimmer of relief, but the damage left behind is proving to be a long-term crisis. Among the countless victims is 73-year-old Yabwahima, a grandmother who watched helplessly as flood waters destroyed her 3-bedroom apartment, a home she had built decades ago. Homes that once stood firm now bear visible structural weaknesses, with cracks snaking through walls and foundations. Residents have expressed deep anxiety about the safety of their properties, with many unsure of whether their houses can withstand another downpour. The Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nanama Brown-Kluche, speaking in an interview during the EPA's ongoing assessment visit to Samreboi, revealed that the authority will construct a concrete wall on the banks of the Tano River to protect the community from future flooding.
What EPA wants to do It's not just to dredge to allow the flow of the Tano River, because we see it blocked at different sections of the river. We also want to restore the banks. We want to actually build concrete wall to restore the banks, especially near the community.
The delegation also paid courtesy calls on the chiefs of Tigari Krom and Aboifie and engaged residents at the community thereby. Schooling in the affected communities has been suspended for the past 3 weeks, as school blocks have been converted into emergency shelters for displaced families, leaving hundreds of children without access to education.
Last week,
the municipal chief executive, Priscilla York, however, assures that plans are far advanced to move all affected families to the incomplete E block so the school children can return to their classrooms. Irama Smith, TV3 News, Samreboi, Western Region.
Away from the Western region, the president of the Ghana Bar Association, Ifwa Gatti, has lamented the seeming delay in execution of effective measures to curb the incidence of perennial flooding in the country. Speaking at the 44th commemoration of the 3 murdered justices of the High Court, the GBA president cited the destruction caused by Monday's rains and subsequent flooding, which led to the death of some Ghanaians.
Several homes, businesses and office spaces were inundated by Monday's downpour, resulting in the loss of lives, property and livelihoods. President Mahama attributed the incident to the irresponsible actions of a few individuals.
Let us change our attitude and let us find a permanent solution to this Accra flooding problem. We shouldn't become like the vulture who, anytime it is raining, he says as soon as it stops raining, he will repair his roof. And then as soon as it stops raining, he says, oh, it has stopped raining, so there's no need to repair the roof.
Reacting to the developments at the 44th anniversary remembrance service for the 3 murdered justices of the High Court, President of the Ghana Bar Association, Ifwa Gatti, decried the failure to implement long-lasting remedies for the perennial floods.
We also sometimes recycle problems and lack the willpower to execute the solutions. The flooding of the city of Accra is a glaring example, coupled with property destruction and loss of lives, especially that of helpless children. Solutions have been offered, yet we still await the execution of a holistic and efficient remedy.
Moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Dr. Abraham Nanapare Kwache, preaching as the guest speaker, cautioned judges against delivering judgments tainted with politics.
We cannot continue to hold the remembrance services if judgments that are served in our courts are colored with partisan politics because some politicians want us to do so for them. We cannot continue to hold remembrance services for these wonderful men and women when we serve justice to the highest bidder in our nation.
Every year, the Ghana Bar Association, in collaboration with the judiciary, remember Justice Fred Kusakodie, Justice Cecilia Koranting Ado, and Justice Kwejo Eje Ejapon, who were gruesomely murdered in 1982. Lodi Rasari, TV3 News, Accra.
President John Dramani Mahama has cut short for the establishment and creation of the Tema Integrated Industrial Parks, which is a company limited, to spearhead the development of a large-scale industrial enclave in Tema. A ceremony in Tema, the president says Ghana must relive the industrial drive of former President Dr. Kwame Nkrumah that created Tema as an industrial hub.
Took a significant step towards establishing a large-scale industrial hub in Tema with the incorporation of the Tema Integrated Industrial Parks Company Limited. TIPCO is a joint venture involving the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation (GIADEC), TDC Ghana Limited, and Arise Integrated Industrial Platforms. Speaking at the sword-cutting ceremony in Tema, President Mahama said the project is expected to transform the Tema heavy industrial area into a strategic manufacturing and processing enclave.
So today, this ceremony marks the practical implementation of a vision to transform Ghana from a predominantly raw materials exporting economy into a competitive industrial nation that creates value, manufactures high-quality products, and serves markets across Africa and beyond. The Tema Integrated Industrial Park is one of the flagship projects through which that vision is going to be realized. This is not simply an investment in land, factories, and infrastructure. It's going to be an investment in Ghanaian enterprise, Ghanaian ingenuity, and Ghana's future.
In April this year marks a major milestone in implementing the Integrated Industrial Park project. The facility is expected to occupy between 100 and 120 hectares of land near the Volta Aluminium Company smelter.
This is News 360 on TV3. Business, sports, and entertainment are all lined up for you right after this break. Stay with us.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal. Pepsodent.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
me didn't tum. Mr. Freddy Kakalika, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Freddy once now. Hey, is that you? Improve car.
News360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, consumers and motorists across Ghana are set for significant relief at the pumps as the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana (COPEC) projects a notable drop in fuel prices starting Wednesday, July 1. According to COPEC, retail prices for petrol are expected to drop by approximately 6%, while diesel prices are anticipated to plunge by 13%.
The National Petroleum Authority (NPA) has reduced the mandatory price floors for petrol from 13 cedis 39 pesos per litre to 12 cedis 79 pesos per litre, while diesel drops sharply from 15 cedis 11 pesos to 13 cedis 54 pesos per litre. According to Head of Research and Training at COPEC, Paul Eric Ofori, the price floors reduction and stabilized international crude oil prices are expected to lead to significant reduction in price at the local pumps across the country.
Petrol prices should fall by some 6%. Diesel, we are expecting some 13% drop. We are looking at petrol in terms of the ex-refinery price to sell between 12 cedis 69 pesos a minimum per litre, and then also 14 cedis 03 pesos per litre at the pumps. And then diesel, we are looking at also 13 cedis 39 pesos per litre to a maximum of 14 cedis 80 pesos per litre. That of LPG, we are also looking at to sell between a minimum of 9 cedis 54 pesos per kilogram, and then 10 cedis 55 pesos per kilogram.
The easing of geopolitical concerns, continued appreciation of the cedi against the dollar, has reduced the cost of importing refined petroleum products into Ghana. Together, the two factors have created room for lower ex-pump prices.
Petrol has fallen on the global market by almost about 8%. And then diesel is also doing somewhat 15%. There's always that where you have prices, fall on the global market, it cascades down to ours here at the pumps.
Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) has ordered all flooded fuel stations to immediately suspend dispensing fuel and shut down electrical systems to prevent fires, explosions, and other safety hazards. The public is urged to stay away from these flooded locations and report any operators violating the safety directive.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has launched the Ghana Sustainable Finance Roadmap, a framework designed to help the country's financial sector better manage climate-related risk while mobilizing investment for sustainable economic growth. This was in collaboration with other financial sector regulators, including the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Ghana's financial regulators are taking a coordinated step to tackle the growing economic impact of climate change. At the launch of the Ghana Sustainable Finance Roadmap in Accra, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, said sustainable finance is no longer optional, but essential to safeguarding financial stability and positioning Ghana to attract global green investment.
It is now clear that climate change and other emerging sustainability challenges are no longer distant concerns. They are realities. Realities that increasingly shape our economies, our businesses, and our financial systems. Hence, responding to these challenges is not simply an option. It is a responsibility, one that we owe to our nation and to generations yet to come.
The Bank of Ghana governor said the roadmap provides a common framework for regulators across banking, insurance, pensions, and the capital market to integrate environmental, social, and governance standards, strengthen climate risk management, and unlock sustainable financing opportunities.
And through this framework, we aim not only to strengthen the capacity of the financial sector to manage emerging risks, but also to unlock opportunities that drive long-term value creation for the economy.
Enterprise Group PLC has recorded a 22.3% increase In total assets, at the company's annual general meeting, management revealed assets rose from 3.934 billion cedis in 2024 to 4.813 billion cedis in 2025.
Enterprise Group PLC's annual general meeting gave shareholders the opportunity to review the company's performance over the past year, approve key resolutions, and discuss the company's outlook. Total assets of the group improved by 22.3%, triggered by a significant increase in debt securities, which contributes over 80% of total investment securities. Martin Esong Benjamin is director for the group.
Our total assets increased by 22% to a little over 4 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. And this was largely driven by a significant improvement in our debt securities.
However, Enterprise Group says the conflict involving the United States, Israel, and Iran has introduced new risks that could affect both global and Ghana's economies. Daniel Labi Tieku is Group Chief Executive Officer.
The US-Israel and Iran conflict has created further uncertainties and supply chain disruptions, which will affect the Ghanaian economies through high crude oil prices and transport and freight cost hikes. We expect the government of Ghana to navigate the challenges posed by the conflict to sustain macroeconomic stability, as the cost of any slippages will be damaging to the economy amidst the conclusion of the 3-year extended credit facility program with the International Monetary Fund.
Despite these concerns, Enterprise Group says it remains focused on delivering sustainable growth and creating value for its shareholders.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
spray and coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Nuela Donko. Now, Ghanaian actress and social activist Ifeodor has voiced a concern over the devastating floods that recently hit Accra, lamenting that difficult circumstances that force many people to risk their lives in search of income. Reacting to the situation in a social media post on June 29, 2026, she questioned why, despite hours of heavy rainfall, many residents still felt obligated to leave the safety of their homes to work. It blows my mind that it rained for hours, yet so many people still felt they had no choice but to leave their homes just to make a living. We've been conditioned to believe that making money comes before our own safety, even when the circumstances can be deadly. In many ways, we're subconsciously becoming the walking dead. And now to some more stories. A Hollywood director convicted of defrauding Netflix of $11 million last year has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Carl Eric Rintz was accused of using Netflix funds intended to complete a science fiction series to buy cars, cryptocurrency, and other luxuries for himself. The 48-year-old, best known for the 2013 film 47 Running, was convicted of federal fraud and money laundering for misusing funds. Rintz faced up to 90 years in prison, but was expected to receive a lighter sentence. Judge Jay Rakoff also sentenced Rintz to 3 years of supervised release, $11 million in forfeitures, and $700 fine. Speaking to the court before the judge issued his sentence, Rintz apologized and said he accepted responsibility for his crimes. Well, that'll be it for the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Nuela Donko.
Thank you so much, Noella. On the international front, the United Nations says on Tuesday that an Ebola outbreak could cost Africa up to $3.6 billion and hundreds of thousands of jobs, potentially causing a development crisis. The outbreak of the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola, for which there is no tested vaccine or treatment, has infected 1,307 people and killed 377 in the DR Congo since being declared on May 15. A much smaller number of cases have been reported in Uganda, and experts warn of the possibility of it spreading to other neighbors like South Sudan.
In more international news, thousands of people have marched in South Africa's main cities demanding that all undocumented migrants leave the country. Police officers backed by private security guards were deployed because of fears that protests could turn violent. Anti-migrant groups had set Tuesday as the deadline for undocumented migrants to leave South Africa. It's always a pleasure sharing your company. I mean, this is really not a time of how News360 does come your way, but because of our coverage of the World Cup, there might be a few chops and changes here, so we know that you will bear with us. My name is Martin Asiedu-Date.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Beatrice Edu at 9 p.m. for Agenda. There's also Ghana Tonight with Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. Good evening.
The team playing.